The year's 2009. Disney Channel and Disney X are still priming. Selena Gomez landed a starring role in the hit show Wizards of Waverly Place 2 years prior. And like almost every young and marketable Disney star, Disney pushes her into a music career. Her debut pop rock album that channels the likes of Avril Lavigne and Pink is released, and it's a by-the-book tween album. But wait, the album is credited to Selena Gomez and The Scene. And I want to know, who the fuck is The Scene? They're not on the cover, they're not really present in too many music videos, and they're just not very visible in anything that involves Selena Gomez. They seem to just work as a title. As you can see, we're going to be uncovering who The Scene was and what was their actual occupation while being the sideman for Selena Gomez during her tween era. I've never heard anyone actually talk about The Scene or what their purpose was. Maybe people just don't care to know because they remained in Selena's shadow. But today we're going to talk about The Scene and how they helped Selena Gomez transform into a pop starlet in her own right. First of all, let's cut to the chase. Did The Scene serve an actual purpose besides looking cool in some music videos? Yes and no. They were all instrumentalists, but it doesn't appear that they were actually involved in the music making process. And honestly, I wouldn't expect them to be because Disney seems very controlling. Perhaps they were more instrumental in the live show process because they were not present on the album credits. 16-year-old Selena actually spoke about wanting to be in a band before she debuted, saying, "I'm going to be in a band, no Selena Gomez stuff," she told MTV News. "I'm not going to be a solo artist. I think that I don't want my name attached to it. I basically want to make music that is fun and that parents and kids can jump around to and have a good time to. You know, the Jonas Boys and people like Demi Lovato are my friends, so I definitely would not copy or do anything that they did. They're really good, obviously, at what they're doing, so I'm going to let them have that, but it's also just kind of fun to learn things." So she seemed really eager and excited to be a part of this band. She originally just wanted it to be The Scene and didn't even want her name attached to the group. But obviously, Disney was not going to allow one of their biggest stars to not be entirely visible or have her name attached to the music they were trying to market to her audience. Which is kind of funny because literally every single album cover of Selena Gomez in The Scene is just a close-up of Selena Gomez. They aren't even that visible on any of the album photo shoots. They will pop up every now and then, but mostly it's just Selena Gomez. Kiss and Tell is a pop rock album and definitely a change of speed from what you would expect from Selena Gomez today. It's sassy, it's fun, but it's obviously not her as an artist. Kiss and Tell serve a perfect tween pop album, but it doesn't feel authentic to Selena. But it's not her fault, because she obviously didn't have creative control and was still very young and new to music. The album also features the first song Selena co-wrote on one of her records titled I Won't Apologize, and it's rumored to be about Nick Jonas. She explained what this song meant to her before a performance, going on to say, "I wrote this song because I feel like a lot of people tend to change themselves for, let's be honest, a boy. And that's what I did, and I never want to make that mistake again now. I'm sorry, I'm not what you wanted me to be, but I'm not going to apologize for who I am." I wish she was allowed to tap into her songwriting a little more during this time in her career, because it's actually not a bad song and it's nicely written for a young teenager, especially considering she barely had any musical experience up until that point. So who is The Scene? There were quite a few members. The final members of the band were Greg Garman, who played drums, Joey Clement was on the bass guitar, Drew Taubenfield played lead guitar, and Dan Forrest on the keyboard. The band also included a range of different background vocalists. So it doesn't appear that was actually a consistent band, but almost a cover for Selena until she got comfortable on stage and in music. A Year Without Rain was another teen pop album, but a little more mature and went in a totally different direction. A Euro dance pop album. I still think the title track of this album continues to hold up today and is one of her best ballads. The album was definitely a step up from her debut album, but the content of this album was very obviously restricted, but still solid for a Disney record. When the Sun Goes Down would be the final album from the band, and in my opinion, it's still one of Selena's best albums, at least top 3 of her best albums. I think it's a fun and catchy pop album. The album is a little darker, way more mature, but still maintains some of the Europop elements A Year Without Rain had. I think some of the songs from this album still hold up today, like Who Says, Love You Like a Love Song, and My Dilemma. The album is also Britney Spears influenced. You can hear her influence sprinkled throughout the album, but most notably on the song she co-wrote for Selena called Whiplash. Some of my choice cuts from this album would be Outlaw and Middle of Nowhere. You guys might also remember Hit the Lights from this album, the first song in Selena's discography where she sweared. She only said damn, but it was a pretty big deal back then because she had a perfect image. Selena eventually went solo and dropped the Scene act, and she admittedly played in Rihanna's Rejects World with 2013's Stars Dance, which has some nice tracks like the title track, but I think it's her weakest work ever. She even spoke out against one of her biggest hits titled Come and Get It, that went on to peak at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. I love Stargate more than anything, she says, but it's very difficult for me to perform live. It's not my song. To me, it sounds like a Rihanna reject, which we now know that it was, but anyways, she goes on to say, that was just in the beginning. I was so young, I was wanting a hit. I don't know if I need a hit, but maybe I do so people can respect me. I'm grateful for what Come and Get It did for me, so it'd be stupid not to acknowledge it. Selena wouldn't begin to truly find her artistic identity until 2015's Revival, where she had tons of creative control over her new image and sound. Selena has openly spoken about her time with Disney and not having much control in her older music. There's a huge part of me that didn't get a chance to develop my identity in a normal setting, she says. So when I was working with Disney, it was the best time of my life and I had a great time. I have nothing but good things to say, but it was a bit more controlled. There were certain things that I, had to do. She also spoke about her time with the Scene, going on to say, that to me was a very specific time in my life. I think if you're 14, 15, 16, and you're trying to sing about situations in life that you haven't experienced, I don't really know if that qualifies you as an artist, if I'm being honest with you. It helped me to have people who were older around me that helped guide me and inspired me and pushed me. She added, and there was a moment when I felt like I could do it and I wanted to try it on my own. So Selena didn't even really consider herself a real artist during her time with Disney because she didn't have creative control or input, which is understandable. So there you have it. The Scene was an actual band, but I wouldn't actually consider them a serious artistic band per se because everything was so controlled. Nonetheless, they still supplied the world with some great and catchy pop songs like Naturally, Love You Like a Love Song, and Who Says, and were an essential part of Selena Gomez finding her artistic identity and becoming more comfortable in her own artistry.